Because there ain't no rest for the wicked, Donald Trump has filed an emergency petition to the Supreme Court to prevent his sentencing in New York v. Trump. This is huge. Although many people are saying there's not going to be any real penalties, they're not going to put Trump in prison, and he can show up remotely, the precedent is still massive. The Democrat liberal judge side of these things in New York, they want to win this victory because they're basically saying to the Supreme Court, your claims of immunity do not apply. And if we can sentence Donald Trump, even for nothing, like 34 felony counts, and we're going to tell him, all said and done, go home, buddy. They still get to assert precedents that we win. And the Supreme Court has no authority here. I'd be interested to see how the Supreme Court reacts to this. I have a feeling they're going to say, shut her down. If Donald Trump is sentenced and they don't give him prison time, but they give him a fine or something like this, they are going to try to make it stick that a president can face state level charges and the states get to determine what qualifies as presidential acts. Let's be real. I bring it up every time because it needs to be said. For those that are just entering this story and don't know exactly what happened with Trump being convicted in New York, the charges are fake. I know I can already hear the liberals whinging, as I often say, but it's true. It's a hush money case. They say he falsified business records, a misdemeanor, beyond its statute of limitations, meaning they could not bring these charges against Donald Trump. So how did they do it? They claimed it was a felony. Well, how did they do that? If falsification of business records are done in furtherance of a secondary crime, it's upgraded to a felony and the statute of limitations are extended. Wow. Well, then, considering Trump was convicted, it must be pretty dang shocking what his other crime was. What was the underlying crime for which the falsification of business records exacerbated? We don't know because there isn't one. The state never proved Trump committed any crime. How about that? Now, they may have proved he falsified records beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't believe it because the jury in New York is probably going to be 90% liberal, but fine. If you want to make the argument that the courts are just and the jury has spoken, sure, but you can't bring these charges unless you prove the secondary crime, which they didn't. This must be thrown out. And the Supreme Court better have the balls to pick this up ASAP because they got 2 days until Trump is going to be sentenced. And this is the liberal judges and the machine in New York State saying the Supreme Court has no power, has no authority, and their word is dirt. So this is going to be interesting. Fox News reports President-elect Donald Trump filed an emergency petition to the Supreme Court Wednesday in an effort to block his sentencing in New York v. Trump. Judge Juan Merchan set Trump sentencing in New York v. Trump for January 10th after a jury found the now president-elect guilty of falsifying business records in the first degree, stemming from Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's investigation. Trump pleaded not guilty to all charges and has appealed the ruling, but was rejected last week by Merchan. And here we have the formal document. My friends, I'm going to pull this up. I'll read through it. It's very simple. But before we do, you got to go to boonieshq.com. Pick up one of your skateboards for all those who love it. Now, truth be told, most people buy these things as art pieces, which is really cool, which is why the graphics matter so much. Me, I skate and we like the boards and we ride them. But if you are an individual who believes that bears should be wearing flannel shirts, straw hats, and brandishing shotguns, then the Right to Arm Bears is the skateboard for you. Right to Arm Bears. It's an amazing graphic, by the way. It's quickly become our #1 bestseller, beating out, I kid you not, Step on Sneck and Find Out. That's really amazing. But I've also launched my new model, the Tim Pool 28th Amendment, chickens being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep, bear, and breed chickens shall not be infringed. Check out boonieshq.com, pick up a board. But let's jump back to the news. In a petition from Donald J. Trump, it says, People of the State of New York by Alvin Bragg and Acting Justice Juan M. Merchan, AJSC of the Supreme Court of New York County, New York, respondents, an application for stay of criminal proceedings in the Supreme Court of New York County, New York, pending the resolution of President Trump's interlocutory appeal on presidential immunity. Application for a stay of criminal proceedings in the Supreme Court of New York County, New York, pending the resolution of President Trump's interlocutory appeal. Okay, so it says the same thing twice. Now, it says in the Supreme Court of the United States and then mentions the Supreme Court in New York. So let's get some clarification here. This is, I believe he's appealing to the U.S. Supreme Court. So this is massive. Let's read through the questions presented. 1. Whether President Trump is entitled to an automatic stay of criminal proceedings against him in the state court while his claims of presidential immunity from criminal prosecution are addressed in interlocutory appeal to New York's appellate courts and, if necessary, this court. Whether the trial court's admission and use of evidence of President Trump's official acts in a state court jury trial on criminal charges violated the doctrine of presidential immunity recognized in Trump v. U.S. 603 U.S. 593, 2024. Whether a sitting president's complete immunity from criminal prosecution during his term in office extends to the president-elect of the United States during the brief but crucial period between his election, his certification as the president-elect, which has now occurred, and his inauguration, as he conducts presidential transition activities that are integral and preparatory to his imminent assumption of the executive power of the United States. The applicant is President Donald J. Trump. The respondents are the people of the state of New York by D.A. Alvin Bragg, Acting Justice Juan Merchan of the Supreme Court of New York County, New York. So that's what they're basically saying. It's Juan Merchan. Very interesting. Do we have, wow, look at this. It's actually very interesting. There's a lot to go through in here. All of this precedent being cited. This is actually amazing work. Trump's got some really great lawyers. I'd like to see one of their arguments. They say the application requests an emergency stay to prevent further criminal proceedings in New York State Court, including a sentencing hearing scheduled for Friday, January 10th at 9:30 a.m. against the president-elect of the United States at the apex of the presidential transition. After his electoral win, has been certified. It's a typo. You see, I can read really fast, but when you put a typo in there, you screw me up. Anyway, where was I? Win has been certified by a joint session of both the House of Congress while he pursues a meritorious interlocutory appeal raising claims of presidential immunity. On Friday, January 3rd, 2025, the Supreme Court of New York County wrongly denied President Trump's pending motion to dismiss a criminal case based on presidential immunity and contrary to accepted practice, New York law, and due process. Abruptly set the matter for criminal sentencing less than a week later. President Trump promptly filed an interlocutory appeal and notified the trial court that it is subject to an automatic stay. But the New York courts have erroneously refused to honor that stay. This court should enter an immediate stay of further proceedings in the New York trial court to prevent grave injustice and harm to the institution of the presidency and the operations of the federal government. The commencement of President Trump's interlocutory appeal raising claims of presidential immunity causes an automatic stay of proceedings in the trial court under Trump v. United States. So basically what they're saying is normally when you appeal something, they pause the sentencing for the appeal. But New York is like, nah, we're going to sentence you anyway, buddy. Here's what's funny. People are saying it's a virtual hearing, which means they're likely not going to give him any penalties or prison. Maybe. I think their insistence on doing this is to just obstruct Trump, may actually come with prison time. They may say you're ordered to report to prison. Maybe. Probably not. I think very likely not. But they want to assert they have authority over the Supreme Court and presidential immunity, which can open the door for other states and create a legal nightmare. They're going to mention, as discussed herein, the court should order an immediate stay of criminal proceedings. This we get. Then they go into great detail about how it's erroneous. This is how these filings often work. I think it's these. I get the formalities, but oh boy, this is a very long document. It's not really that long, to be completely honest, but we're on page 40 right now. It's 41 pages, signed by Todd Blanche. Or is it Todd Blanche? I don't know. At the bottom. Conclusion, this court should immediately order a stay of pending criminal proceedings in the Supreme Court County of New York, pending the final resolution of President Trump's interlocutory appeal, raising questions of presidential immunity, including in this court if necessary. The court should also enter, if necessary, a temporary administrative stay while it considers this stay application. Basically what Trump is saying, right now, SCOTUS should just freeze the sentencing while they consider this. That's pretty interesting. They're going to be like, we don't know if we should stay the proceeding, so we're going to have to stay the proceeding until we figure out whether we should stay the proceeding. That's how we roll, baby. They go on to mention, we got a statement here from a Trump spokesperson. President Trump's legal team filed an emergency petition with the U.S. Supreme Court asking the court, we get it. Trump spokesman Stephen Chung told Fox News, the Supreme Court's historic decision on immunity, the Constitution, and established legal precedent mandate that this meritless hoax be immediately dismissed. Chung said the American people elected President Trump with an overwhelming mandate that demands an immediate end to the political weaponization of our justice system and all of the remaining witch hunts. He added, we look forward to uniting our country in the new administration as President Trump makes America great again. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I am, of course, of the opinion that this should be thrown out. The court, the trial, everything, it's all fake. We know it's fake. And this is just lawfare. They've admitted it's lawfare. Donald Trump has won. So how about all of these Democrats who are like, Trump won the election? We totally get it. You say, okay, then shut her down. Why are you wasting our time? We'll see how it goes. We got more information coming up, more segments coming up later. Smash that like button, share the show with everyone you know. Become a member at timcast.com. Buy Cast Brew Coffee, all that good stuff. Thank you all so much for supporting the work we do here, and we'll see you all in the next segment.